Joseph Stalin, the leader of the Soviet Union from the mid-1920s until his death in 1953, is a figure whose legacy is marked by both admiration and condemnation. His rule was characterized by significant achievements, such as industrialization and the defeat of Nazi Germany during World War II, but it was also marred by brutality and totalitarianism. In this video, we will explore 7 deadly sins associated with Joseph Stalin's leadership: wrath, pride, greed, lust for power, envy, gluttony for control, and sloth in reform. These sins reflect the dark aspects of Stalin's rule, illustrating the profound impact he had on the Soviet Union and the world. But before we dive on, I still encourage you to ever so gently pet the subscribe button, just for good luck. Now back to the video. Number 1. Wrath, the Great Purge. Stalin's wrath is perhaps most evident in the Great Purge, a period of intense political repression during the late 1930s. He ruthlessly eliminated perceived enemies within the Communist Party and society, resulting in mass arrests, show trials, and executions. The Great Purge not only decimated the ranks of the Soviet intelligentsia, but also instilled a climate of fear and conformity that persisted for years. Number 2. Pride, Stalin's cult of personality. Stalin's pride manifested in the construction of an extensive cult of personality around himself. He promoted the idea of his infallibility and omnipotence, making himself the center of adoration and control. His pride led to the erasure of any dissent or criticism, stifling creative thought and individuality within the Soviet Union. Number 3. Greed, collectivization, and forced labor. Stalin's lust for power and control is evident in his implementation of policies like collectivization and forced labor camps, gulags. Collectivization resulted in the seizure of private farms and the mass dispossession of peasants, causing widespread famine and suffering. The gulags served as tools for repressing dissent, with millions of people imprisoned and subjected to inhumane conditions. Number 4. Lust for power, constant consolidation of authority. Stalin's unquenchable lust for power was exemplified by his relentless consolidation of authority. He purged or sidelined potential rivals within the Communist Party and maintained tight control over the military and security apparatus. This centralization of power allowed him to govern with an iron fist, suppressing any challenges to his rule. Number 5. Envy, the show trials and suppression of peers. Stalin's envy and distrust of his colleagues are apparent in the infamous show trials of the 1930s. He accused high-ranking party members, including some who had been close allies, of conspiring against him. This envy-driven paranoia led to the execution of prominent figures, which further destabilized the Soviet government. Number 6. Gluttony for control, censorship, and propaganda. Stalin's gluttony for control is reflected in the extreme censorship and propaganda apparatus he established. He tightly controlled the media, rewriting history and promoting a distorted narrative of Soviet achievements. This manipulation of information and suppression of dissent allowed him to maintain a stranglehold on the hearts and minds of the Soviet people. Number 7. Sloth in reform, economic stagnation. Stalin's sloth in reform is seen in his reluctance to adapt to changing economic and social conditions. While he oversaw significant industrialization, his policies were often marked by inefficiency and central planning. This sloth in reform hindered the growth of the Soviet economy, resulting in shortages and stagnation in various sectors. Thank you kindly for watching.